Hey, hello everybody. It's Rod with Pilgrim's Journey. Just giving you guys an update on what's happening here with the boat. I know it's been a long time since I've posted a video. I had a few health issues and things have made some pretty big changes. So I'll give you an update on as we're going along of some of the changes that we've made and also that I'm changing directions because of the health issues. So let's give you an update on what's happening with the boat. Let's turn this thing around and I'll show you what's going on. Hang on just a second. Okay, here we are. So we've painted the holes now. Got some bottom paint on the bottom. Everything's kind of filled back in. I've already put a little bit of kind of the Duraback on the top of the roof. So let's just walk around and show you kind of a little bit what we did. So, the holes are kind of completed. Now this has been painted with Alex Seal, which I really liked. It goes on in some ways a little thicker, a little nicer than All Grip. The challenge is that you got to be very careful. I had to tent the whole boat so it was in the shade, and you can see we did our little kind of a scallop on the back here, and just so we have a different look. And you can also see the rudders are now hung, and I'll show you some updates on the rudders and kind of walk you through that process. Let's see, and walking around here to the back so you can see kind of what's going on and up top. So anyway, so that's just a quick update. All right, so let's talk about the rudders for a minute. So if you look down here, let's go down to the rudder brackets. All right, so these rudder brackets have been put on. We put the zincs on the front. Now what we ended up doing, and I don't know if you can see it, we ended up putting a sleeve bushing that's kind of a Delrin bushing on the bottom. We had up in here, this is up at the top, we had new pillow balls made. And now the challenge with these rudders, I'll show you this a little later. Now these rudders, we ended up putting these two kind of inspection plates. At one time, the rudder pin bushings had come loose, and so those had to be reglassed and refitted up top. So now what we did, these rudders actually, it's a little bit of spider webs there. So, all right, so let's see if we can get this open here. All right, so let's get this open. I'll show you what we did. So this is now filled with kind of a high density foam. So you can see it's really high density. What was in these before was, it was kind of almost a styrofoam. So it was just like little blocks of styrofoam. So we ended up putting these hatches in just so if we ever had to ended up put these back in there, but if we ever ended up having to fix the pin bushings and get up in there, we could do that. We could pull out some of that foam, and that was just kind of an inexpensive spray expandable foam. Anything was better than the chunks of styrofoam I'll show you later, that I'll put up a couple of pictures of it. Now the pin bushings, we ended up having to, like I said, we made new Delrin bushings. We also had to have a couple brackets remade and re-welded. But these are all good now. Rudders are back done. We've got all this. Now let's go up in here to, this is your steering cable. The steering cable, just so you know, we ended up, I ordered a 15-foot replacement. We had to order the steering box itself and a whole new cable system. Well, that doesn't work with the original, so what we did, and now this thing, you're looking at about $380 for this steering cable. We've still got to put something up in here, you know, a little sleeve that'll cover this hole. Now this, if you notice, this is actually on a swivel, and this ties into it. And of course the cable goes in and through this sleeve here that's on this kind of a rotating bushing. As your arm kind of goes back and forth, this will actually move. So it'll kind of move around just a little bit. So this gives you that articulating arm, so it moves around, and so we'll end up putting a sleeve over this also once we get this all fitted up. All of this is still got to get painted, and you know, we're going to put just a bigger shackle here, and we're getting rid of, if you notice, there's no pull to block and tackle. We may end up putting that back on for the time being, but eventually we want to put a hydraulic arm that would basically go from here to your yoke, and it'll push the yoke up. So that's what we would like to do here eventually. And so we'll just, the only thing other to be fitted now is the little pull cable that will pull up your locking mechanism to unlock your select drive mechanism so it can rotate up. So anyway, so this kind of looks up underneath. You can see, not bad. We kind of, it was a challenge trying to figure out how I wanted to do the underneath paint. I didn't want to tie it all in and figure out how that, so we just painted this back section red, and that's where that goes. Okay, giving you a little look here. So this is the cockpit. You can see where masked off where the non-skid would go here. We still haven't put primer on the floors. The walls have been painted, and all this back section has been painted. So really it's just a little bit left. You can see we end up putting a new Macrolon door on with a Perco lock. Now we haven't pulled off a lot of the covering on it. We're just keeping it on there for a little bit of protection right now, but that's an all new Macrolon door. And in coming up top, you can see here, this is now all Durabec non-skid. So this goes out and actually pretty nice. So I actually ground off all the old non-skid and we laid this out. So let's walk up here to the front and I'll show you how that looks. So here you can see where we haven't put the Durabec on the walkway yet, and you can see here up here this is a sand color. They actually have about 12 different colors for Durabec. Tried to put it on reasonably thick so it would give you just a lot of grip, and it's excellent. We had to let it kind of go overnight, but we kind of relayed out all the patterns so it looks a little different. And you can see up here, you can tell where it'll go, so you can see the waterways. And of course this is all the new glass, but here you go with the Durabec up top. We're replacing all of the top glass. I'm waiting for the new glass to get shipped out of North Carolina for the small hatches, and then we're gonna have the new ones made up here at the top. So we've still got those masked off a little bit, but I used the corner of a 5-way to actually draw out all these corners to make it kind of the way we wanted it, so it looked factory, but I kind of did it the way it just made sense to me. So now we've also got new chain plates that'll all get bolted back on, and kind of see how that goes. Okay, so kind of gives you a little bit of a quick update. I mean, really quick. I'm trying not to make these videos too long because I know if they get long, a lot of people don't want to watch them. So, you know, really what's left on the Prout, I mean, you can tell over the last year, it's come a long way. The heat got to me over late summer. Like I said, I had a few health issues. I got some kind of bad news health-wise. So in January, I put the boat up for sale. And Tommy Tybeck and his wife Lynn have bought the boat. And they're from the east coast of Florida here, and they're going to be assuming the project. So kind of helped them get up to this point with the paint, and now they're taking over the project from here. So they'll finish up the non-skid. We'll put new rigging on the boat, get the mast stood back up with some new lighting, new nav lights. We've got all new instruments to go in the boat. They'll rewire the interior. And Tommy's a carpenter, so they'll kind of finish up the interior, and they'll go sailing. And I know it'll be a great boat for them, and I really hate that I'm not going to get to sail her after a lot of work this last year, but life changes, and we have to kind of sometimes make some changes. So if you're wondering, what are we going to do from here? Well, one night, if you know me, I'm a little crazy. So probably while I'm single at this age, I'm maybe a little bit nuts. So one night, I was kind of laying here and praying and going, God, what do I do from here? And not knowing that I would get a little bit of bad news with my health, and know that I'm going to have to make some pretty severe changes over this next few months. So one night I was searching the internet, found some land up in Texas, and I actually bought a piece of land overlooking Lake Meredith just north of Amarillo, about 35 minutes north of there. So and I really wanted to see a lot of the country, and now that's kind of a little more imperative, since I don't know how long I'll be able to see a lot of the country. So what did we do? I ended up buying that. So I picked up a Class A RV. It's a 2002 R-Vision Condor, and kind of planes, trains, and automobiles and boats. I've kind of gone the whole gamut. I've flown airplanes, we've sailed, we've had power yachts, race cars, and hey, you turn 60, why not an RV, right? So there's somebody I really wish was here to enjoy this with me. I know they really wanted to see the country just like I did, and we had a lot of plans together, but things changed, and they went in a different direction. But the one thing I've learned is that life is very short, and it can change in a heartbeat. So we might as well kind of enjoy it. And for me, as a Christian, I want to have an impact on people for Christ. You know, I can't take any of this stuff with me, and that was one of the reasons over this last 3 years I've been downsizing and really changing my views on life. So and just realizing that I'm not loading this stuff and putting it in a casket with me. So me and Tuck are going to take the RV here, and we're going to kind of in between doctor's appointments and the hospital, we're going to go travel around the country. I'd like to go to the Grand Tetons and maybe hike the Grand Tetons, go up to Yellowstone, hopefully have time to build a little house up there on the lake at Lake Meredith, and just see where life goes. The one thing I realize for me is my life is in Jesus's hands. It's not in mine, and I belong to him. So he knows the numbers of my days, and whether I live another 10 days or if I live another 10, 20 years, who knows? It's in his hands, and I'm not going to fret about it too much. I'm just going to love on people and enjoy what God has given us, and just try to have an impact on people. So, and I think Tommy and Lynn are really going to enjoy the catamaran. I mean, she really ended up pretty, and you guys remember how rough this project was. It's come a long ways, and so we go from that to this. So the Prout is a 37-foot Prout. We picked it up at a good price. I kind of gave it away to Tommy, knowing that I needed to make some changes, and I think Tommy and Lynn are really going to enjoy it. They'll enjoy their retirement years, and they're planning on sailing across the Atlantic after maybe a tour down to the Bahamas, and I think they're really going to enjoy it. So I hope they will continue to update and give you guys updates on what they're doing with the boat and where it goes from here. And for us, we're going to make the transition. It's kind of a life of a nomad in an RV, and you know, that's kind of where life has changed. So the nice thing is the air conditioner's blowing ice cold in the RV, and I'm kind of loving it. We're coming into the heat of summer here, and I think I'm going to put a GPS on this baby that is pointed to about 70 degrees. Wherever it's 70 degrees in the country, that's where we're going. So I'm getting out of the heat, and so I hope to see you guys as we continue to go, and I hope you'll continue to follow along. And I understand that if you don't, you don't. It's okay. I hope these videos have helped you a little bit and encouraged you. If there's one advice I'd like to give you is, if you're doing a complete refit the way I did with this Prout, and it's still not quite complete, but if you're going to do a complete refit, take your time, live your life too. Don't get so caught up on the boat that it's every second of every day and you burn out, and you end up like a lot of projects here in the marina that the boats get abandoned. People walk away from them because it just gets overwhelming. So, and at times I did get overwhelmed, and I got, it became too much. So, but the toxins have affected some other parts of my body that probably not for the better, and I really needed to get away from the toxins and all the issues of building a boat in this environment. So live life, enjoy it. You know, if it's not perfect, enjoy it. I mean, fix the thing up, make it run, make it a little pretty, but then go sail. And if you're doing RVs, do the same thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get you to your destination, because life is about people. It's not about stuff. So we love you guys. Hopefully you'll join us. If you like these videos, and if you'd like to continue with us on our journey, click subscribe. You know, hit the little bell at the bottom, and so you get notifications. And hopefully we'll see you guys on the road or on the sea or in the air. I'm not sure. You'll have to keep up with me, because life can change quickly with us. So, all right, again, this is Rod with Pilgrim's Journey, and we'll see you guys out there. See you later. Bye.
These feelings, I can't let them go. It's harder for me to explain. You would think that I would know how to make the sun shine when it rains, but it's all a mystery. We both have history, mix of the highs and the lows, and that's why I need to be where I can feel free. I'll put a little control. The ins and outs, the ups and downs, sometimes too slow. When I need space, a small escape, a place to roam, that's where I go. Yeah, that's where I go. That's where I go. Yeah, that's where I go.